Welcome to Womenpowered Stories, another episode, and I'm so excited for our speaker this evening. And I know that many of you are doing well in the comfort of your home, so I hope that you will have time to listen to us and learn something in this episode. And our guest for tonight is actually one of also of the inspiring women that I look up to. So let me introduce our guest speaker. She is the CEO of Mr. Outsource. It's a leading outsourcing company that consults and facilitates with business owners in creating effective and efficient remote teams. She is also an advocate for improving the overall standard of the Philippine online workforce. And she is the author of the book Outsourcing Mastery, 17 Secrets on How to Outsource to the Philippines. She has trained 1,000 digital professionals through Mr. Outsource University. So she is a coach, and she is also a founding member of DCAP, or Digital Career Advocate of the Philippines. She is also a co-lead of Google Business Group Davao and the Women Will Lead. Women Will Lead is a Google initiative to help women make the most of technology to build skills, get inspired, and connect with each other through trainings, events, and advocacy. And also, she's a press release officer of Durian Toastmasters Club in Davao City. And she is passionate about public speaking on any topics related to starting a digital career in the Philippines and transforming from freelance to agency. So everybody, please help me in welcoming Miss Regina Evangelista. Hello, Miss Reg.
Hi guys. Hello Rose. Hello.
How are you doing? You look pretty.
We're good. I'm good.
So I'm so happy and delighted for having you here in Women-Powered Stories. So how are you coping up?
Yeah, I mean, everything has gone pretty much very, very fast. So personally, this transition isn't. I wasn't really taken aback by this transition, as I am a introvert myself. So working in isolation and working from home is something I enjoy doing. As a family collectively, so it's hard at first because I am surrounded with boys in this house. I'm the only woman in this house. So every member in this house wants to go out and play and all that energy going on. So we can't do that as of the moment. Business-wise, Mr. Outsource, I was pretty quick to shift to work from home, remote work, because our foundation of the business is working from home or working remotely anyway. So that transition is pretty easy. But at the end of the day, we're taking it one day at a time, like everyone else. And we try to be positive every day, especially with everything that's going on.
Right, and I know that you're used to doing working remotely, and again, it wasn't that difficult for you to transition to work from home. But is there any challenge that Mr. Outsource is still experiencing right now? Maybe with the clients and with your freelancers. What are some of those challenges that you are still facing right now?
Yeah, so we have not really. So we started out as working from home as a company in 2015, and then we shifted our business model early 2018. We put everything. We have integrated everyone in the office. Like, we're very strictly in the office, because there was a time in that year where brownouts in Davao was happening. It was shortage of brownouts. So it was hard to keep a standard of service to our clients. So we said, look, okay, we have to put everyone in the office. So with this transition, we only had 90% of our team work from home. we still have 10% who are working in the office. And that's very interesting because this is our first time to experience this. And with the government's compliance requirements, we have to make sure that we have a quarantined office. And right now we have team members in our office that are in lockdown. So we actually have 3 members there right now that are living in the office for more than a month. So we bring them food every week. We bring them weekly supplies with their food. We have quarantined the office. We have scotch tape everywhere. We have labels everywhere just to set that requirements. No one is allowed to go in. Even I myself cannot go in to our office. So that's strictly their area. And that was the very challenging at first because we have to buy supplies. We have to buy bed. We have to make it comfortable for them. We have to buy stove. We have to make sure we have to install a shower in the office, right? Because the hotels in our area are already fully booked or closing, or other bigger BPOs have already booked their facility. So it was hard for us to get 3 rooms for our guys. And we feel like it's safer if we just lock them in our own office and we just make sure that they live comfortably there. So that was the first challenge. The second challenge for us was the changing of requirements without 24-hour timeline for us to, or a 24-hour leeway for us to go through. Like, we have to make sure they even require us to have a security guard and stuff like that. And I think, I understand where the government is coming from, but because the requirements include the bigger BPO, the smaller BPO is hard to adjust. So when they ask, okay, you need to have a security guard, well, we don't really need a security guard. We're just 3 people in the office and they're in lockdown. So is that okay that we don't have a guard and stuff like that? And the back and forth with the government, and the government going to our office, documenting everything. So it was really hard and first time for us. We can't move in that way because of that timeline also. So we had to make sure our car has a label with our company name. So I think once that wave has gone through, we were able to do the requirements and the water kind of settles already. We kind of thought, okay, so what's next? So far we're doing virtual calls with our team. We're doing what we call virtual co-working. So we are working together in a Zoom conference like this, and we have everyone, and we don't have to talk. We can just see everyone working. It doesn't necessarily have to be a meeting. It's just virtual co-working, and it kind of lifted the spirits up, especially with everyone working from home. So that's one thing that's been helpful for us. But those challenges came the very beginning. This transition happened. That was where we were kind of okay, what's going on.
Awesome, that's great. And I haven't heard your story before, but as one of the empowered women that I know, I'm actually interested and curious, wondering how did you started with Mr. Outsource, or your business or your advocacy in the Philippines, to help our online workforce. Maybe you can tell us more about that.
Yeah, okay. So, I started like way early. I got pregnant early, and it was like, okay, I'm dead. Like, what do I have to do now? Like, I got pregnant unprepared, and being a single mom, it's really hard in this economy. So I dropped out of college, and so I'm like, okay, so what is it now? And of course, BPO was readily available then. It was the highlight of the BPO industry. Like, if you are part of the BPO, you are it. So everyone wanted to join that industry. So I joined there, and after 6 months, I'm like, okay, this isn't something I really want to do. And in one of the newspapers that I was reading, it says, if you can write in English, then apply here. I'm like, okay, my background in college was AB literature, AB English, and I major in literature. So I'm like, okay, cool, I can write in English. So I'm like, okay, I apply there. And that's when I started becoming a content writer for different websites. So I was being paid by how many words that I can complete by articles in a day. And for me, the more articles I write, the more money I make. So it was good. It was a good compromise with leaving the BPO salary that I had. So once I was doing a writer, I'm like, okay, what's next for me, right? And my writer friend says, look, you should go home based and just quit this office writing and look for clients online, because writers are always in demand, even before, especially now during these times. So I'm like, okay. And then I met this guy who is looking for a writer, and I wrote for him for 2 years. I've been writing technical writing for him. And then he goes, okay, do you know how to do other things besides writing? I'm looking for a secretary. I'm looking for a virtual assistant. Can you do that? And me, because my personality, I'm like, okay, I can do whatever I want, So I know that Google is there. Do you know how to build a website? Google. Do you know how to build a funnel? Google. So I've always relied so much on the internet, even before. So I said, yeah, I can do anything. Just let me know what do you want me to do. So that when he asked me to book flights for him, book hotels for him, I kind of became his personal assistant. So pick up laundry here. I left my charger in Starbucks at this branch. Can you call? I'm going to pick the Starbucks there. Laundry or silly things like funny things like, okay, Regina, can you enter this raffle from a that I got? It says I'm going to win a cruise ship. So I'm the one who's going to enter the raffle for him, put his name, stuff like that. If he's dating someone, I'm the one who takes care of the flowers every month for their monthsary. I make sure it's there, birthdays, everything. So I became his secretary. And then it came to a point when his friends know about me and how awesome his life is and organized. I'm like, I want to hire someone like Regina from the Philippines, right? And so that's Erlen Baque. So Erlen says, Regina, do you have a sister or do you have a friend who you can train to become like you? And that kind of started it. Him helping his friends and me helping my friends get jobs. So it started, Mr. Outsource started as a recruitment company. So I help him recruit, and I train the virtual assistants with a level of standard that he wanted. And then he says, okay, let's stop helping friends and make this a real business. And then that's where we did webinars, and we asked everyone to hire a virtual assistant from the Philippines. So while he's doing seminars abroad in Europe, in London, I'm very busy here in Davao training people how to work from home. And it's very interesting because in last 2015, when you say work from home, it's either a scam, it's either racket lang, it's nothing stable, or it's American webcam love story. So it's never taken seriously. So having to educate people for 4 years every month for free on what working from home is and the level of standard required for a Filipino virtual assistant, it kind of helped a lot of Filipinos that I know, especially in Davao, land clients, because I said, okay, look, all you need to do is be at this certain level as a virtual assistant, and there's a client guaranteed at the end of your training. Because we have a pool of clients waiting to hire virtual assistants, right? So it kind of started from there. So they pay as one-time recruitment fee. That's where we get the income from our business, and then we match them. And then it kind of, again, that level. So once they meet after 3 months, they came back and say, look, I don't know what's going on. It's either I don't know how to manage someone, or I don't know what I want them to do, or the VA isn't as committed, or so something is, there's a gap within that relationship. So we said, okay, we have to move back in and manage them again, until we said, look, let's shift our business model from a recruitment type to an office-based agency type, where we manage the people. So it doesn't matter whoever is the VA here, as long as we manage the standard of service, will be fine. So that's the transition of Mr. Outsource since then to now.
That's great. That's amazing. With the situation right now, I know that many people are looking for a job. And
Yeah.
for also at the same time, there are entrepreneurs and companies, they're reducing their workforce. Is it that something that you are working on? What are the initiatives of Mr. Outsource right now?
We find this like a double-edged sword in a way. Well, because one, we are only hiring office-based virtual assistant. So if you're working from home, it's not going to work for us. We require our VAs to work in the office. But because of the current situation, we no longer require the office. We can now accept applicants that are working from home. So meaning our workforce or our applicants have gone like way, way bigger. So it kind of balances the playing field. We are no longer looking at just Davao applicants. We're now looking at Cebu, Manila applicants who have also great talent pool in the online workforce. And it kind of disadvantages to the Davao online workforce in a way, because not just us, with this remote workforce, we can now hire other people who has better rates or who has better skill set, right? It's getting even harder to get more clients now because of that working arrangement. And then the second is, it's also positive for us because a lot of people are laying off good people. So those people who we want to work with before, and they can't really entertain other jobs or the jobs we're offering because, they love their job, they have good compensation, they're being laid off right now. So it's a good opportunity for us to offer them, look, I think it's time that you move with us. So these people that we're eyeing for so long can work with us already. And our initiatives would say, okay, we need to build a database of all the high quality people that are out of jobs now, not because, just because of the circumstance or just because of the situation. We need to make sure that they're being catered to, or they know that we exist, that they can work with us. Initiatives also is, I think our very first responsibility is our people. So because of what's happening, although we're lucky, we're not that affected, we still have a couple of team members we have to put on leave. We have a couple of team members that we have to let go for now, but we still want to make sure that they're compensated. We still want to make sure we check in on them. If they have rice, if they have food, we do connect with them every week and says, look, are you good for a week? Right? And it says, okay, we're good for a week. Okay, I will call you back next week. Right? And then in Mr. Outsource, we sell in season. We don't sell all the time because of what's happening. We've been selling our services. We've been going at it from our clients since March. So we're on sales call, back-to-back sales call, just to get as many clients as we can, because we know there are a lot of people who are looking for jobs right now. So in that sense, one, we have to make sure our people, especially those who are laid off, are well taken care of, and make sure that there's still food on their plate and stuff like that. And then the second one is reconnect, especially in the community, where making sure that they know that once this is over, we're here and we're accepting applicants. We're accepting new team members. So yeah, I think it's harder to get more clients these days, especially when people are cutting costs. But we're just finding other opportunities where we can really sell our services.
Right. And yeah, even other platforms are also, when I check, there are way more job seekers than employers, right? So that is something that we really have to face nowadays. And going back to you as an inspiring woman, I'm also wondering, how did you stand out and work yourself around working in an industry which is male dominated? I think somehow we understand that the tech industry, there are more men, and we used to have clients that more clients are men. So how do you stand out and get your ideas across with them and make sure that you are in control, especially on your business?
I think in my career, I think I'm a bit lucky. I have worked with clients and people who never saw me being a woman as something inferior or something disadvantageous. I've been aware where I have entered in the industry where it is a time when women has risen already. Like, we have women leaders already. It isn't as being looked down upon when I entered the industry. It was really based on, can you do the work? Can you answer and direct questions in English? It was really more about that, my skill set, the way I communicate, rather than because I'm a woman. I think I have experienced inferior or at a disadvantaged relationship in race, not more in gender, right? Because who is this girl from the Philippines we're bringing in on a podcast? Why are we interviewing this girl from the Philippines, right? Who is this girl? So I had to make sure I had very good arsenal of careers and backup of I have to make sure that I have the authority to talk about what I'm talking about. I had to make sure I have a story to back up. I have a business that I'm running. I have a solid social proof that I deserve to be where I am. I deserve to be, being a guest on a podcast, for example. And it was more of a race issue more than a gender issue. But then when I begin to speak and I begin to answer their questions very professionally and respectfully, it kind of, okay, so she's real. She's a real deal. And I think that's one of the advantages in this industry, is that it doesn't matter as long as you're good at what you do, you're true to yourself, you don't lie to people, and you're just being transparent. You're just being who you are, and people will love you for it. Even if you're a woman, you're a Filipino, you're an Asian, it doesn't matter. So I think in that aspect, in that context, I'm very lucky and blessed that I wasn't able to experience any gender discrimination or something sort of like that.
Fantastic. And I know that you're also a Women Will Lead, and also a press release officer of Durian Toastmaster. And I think one thing that you are trying to build with other women entrepreneurs is to build your confidence, right? So as you mentioned, it's not about the gender, but it could be a racial discrimination or marginalization. So for Filipino women, what are your advice and hopes for them to stand out, especially nowadays with a lot of supply of people looking for a job? How will they stand out in the world of digital?
Well, this is a common mistake, not just for everyone actually looking for a job. They don't have a tailored resume. They have a generic resume. It's a resume where they put everything in there. I'm Miss Binibining Filipinas 1988, right? I'm a Jollibee crew from 2000. They put everything there, and it's not relevant anymore. It doesn't sell you. So make sure that whatever you submit clients or to the HR manager, you make sure that that's helping you. So if you're applying for a writer, make sure that all your writing and articles are there. Make sure that's on the top. Like you've been awarded this, you've written, I'm Regina Evangelista, I've written 1 million words in my lifetime. Boom, you're standing out, right? Versus someone who submitted a regular resume, I'm a content writer. But it says, I wrote 1 million words in my lifetime in English. So the HR, like, okay, who's this girl? Right? Again, it's about putting yourself out there properly. So you don't just say, I'm Regina Evangelista, I'm applying for a social media marketer, right? You say, I'm Regina Evangelista, I help companies get more sales through social, digital, blah, blah, blah. So you make sure you put your message across very clearly and don't be generic. Again, this is positioning, right? Another one that's a helpful tip also is, for me, what worked for me was like, I'm a Mac user, right? So I go to Upwork and online job sites page and I say Mac user, because there are clients who are just looking for VAs who are Mac users, because they're using Mac software system as well, right? So automatically you've subtracted a lot of people just by being that specific. Another one is, besides tailoring, you have to make sure that you know your rate. Especially now that, okay, I'll accept $1 per hour because I need job. You think short term, that's okay. Of course, they're going to hire you for $1 a job for doing podcast editor, right? Just so you have some income. But for the long term, you're hurting the whole Filipino online workforce. Because now that client and his friends are now assuming and expecting other Filipinos with that type of rate. So we have to make sure that we stick to our price, or maybe negotiate some of our prices. But I've seen a lot more people now accept lower rates just so they can get a client, right? So it's kind of hurting our economy long term, but we have to make sure that we keep that standard level in a way. Now, for VAs right now, or for women freelancers who have clients that are going to stop contracts, that phone call where, okay, can we meet tomorrow? I have an important decision to make. And I know that's very anxious and stressful for you, but when that client comes to you, you don't just accept it. So you just say, okay, can I negotiate with you? So instead of firing me, can I work 2 hours a day instead of 8? Or can I do 3 days a week, right? Because all they're really asking is cutting costs. So you can negotiate. You just don't accept, okay, I don't have a job anymore. So try to compromise and try to negotiate other deals before accepting that you're fired, or before accepting that your contract is done. And then, or if they say no, do you have friends who you can recommend me to? Do you have friends who can, who I can apply to? So don't, make sure that client, you've exerted all their network, their recommendations, and don't just accept and just, accept that they've let you go.
Great, thank you for that. And I think since, again, with a very high competition right now, what do you think are the most or in-demand skills, and that so women are more prepared and will become more adept in, addressing the demand in the online space.
Yeah.
What do you think, like, based on your communications experiences in engaging with the clients, what are the most in-demand skills so that women can, learn from that? And while we have a lot of time at home right now, then what are the skills that you have to develop and learn?
Yeah. Okay. So the economy right now, if you can look at it, the world is working from home and very relying on the internet. So people are consuming content. So someone has to create that content. So if you have to be good at content creation. So whether a writer, whether video, whether cool memes, graphics, anything that's viral, that's one of the skills that's in demand. So content writing, podcast creation, video editing, YouTube space editing, YouTube. We have lots of YouTubers now who don't like to edit their videos. So you can offer your services and you do editing for them. Because yeah, at the end of the day, these creators, all they want to do is talk and create good content. But most of their time, 80% of their time is spent on editing, spent on computer and adding those tricks and, music and stuff like that. And it just takes the creativity out of a person, right? So you can go there, look, spend more of your time creating good content and filming and send it to me, right? So increase your content and you can, I can do the editing. And I've been a subscriber for how many years now? I know what type of editing you want. I know your music, your content. I can add value that way. So that's one of the area opportunities that are available. Content writer is very, very always in demand right now. English writers, sales copywriters, social media, of course. Again, it's a bit broad. So Facebook marketing, Facebook, let's say community organizers, community curators. So these bigger influencers, they have groups, communities that they want to manage, make sure that all the questions and comments have been answered. So I think more of the digital content creation world, that's where most of the opportunities are. But in the Philippines, we can see the rise of writers, English writers, not just speakers, but yeah, English writers, because we have lots of clients that are podcast editor. So they are looking for writers who can write the description, write the post on social media about that podcast, transcribing the podcast, transcribing the interview. So there's a whole lot of steps to create one episode. So yeah, practice your English skills, technical writing, English writing, stuff like that.
That's great to know. I can relate on the video editing part.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
it takes a long time to do edit.
Going back to you being a lead of the Women Will, and I know that this is a platform and a community where women can connect with each other, learn, and do trainings and events and meet up. So what do you think is the most important thing to do right now for the community? And is there any initiative that Women Will is doing to help the community of women to still, connect with each other virtually and still huddle and still feel that, we still exist even we cannot see face to face with each other?
Yeah. Yeah, so we actually just received a memo from Google business community, with regards to how we are going to do the events. So they have released the requirements, the timeline, and specifications of what an online event looks like. So with that event, we can do as much as we can, as many as we can during this period. So yeah, we want to create one. The past, I think, the next few months, we want to create an online community within Davao City. So women will probably just a meetup, just checking in on the community and how are they doing and stuff like that. And I guess we're kind of lucky because although Davao City is the biggest city, it's still a small community. We've seen similar people and similar events, and it's nice to see them catch up with other communities as well. So we have a strong although it's a small community, we still have a strong social presence with them and relationship with them. So yeah, I hope that I want to create a meetup, just a meetup for Women Will, and just check in with women in Davao City. Hopefully we can organize something pretty soon. So especially when the water has calmed now and we already know what's going on. Because right now we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So it's kind of hard to organize something. But yeah, definitely in the books to plan some online meet, not just in Women Will, maybe in combination in partnership with a Google Business Group community.
Right. So maybe you can share about how important it is for a woman or mother or to still be part of a community like this, like especially in this time. How can we encourage more women to participate and still engage virtually, aside from doing their household chores or working at home or learning online courses? How is it important to still be part of a support group like this?
Yeah, even more so now that you need a support group. Again, it's harder under these circumstances because we don't have that break. We don't have that separation of work and home. So it's all in one place, and it's even getting harder to get work done with personal things going on. And it's even harder for moms out there who have more responsibilities on their plate. So it's easy for us to say, look, just stay committed, just stay communicated as a group and stuff like that. But they don't have the time to sit and scroll through Facebook and scroll through and be presentable in a Zoom meeting while the kids are ravishing away there on the background. So it's some women, some moms have really a hard time. But I think if we have a community where we have a balance of both, we have a balance of how to stay productive, how to learn, how to keep your kids entertained, how to educate your kids while in quarantine. So while they're studying, you're working at the same time. So those tips and tricks, how to become productive. But at the same time, a community where also emphasizes on break, on meditation, on just sitting down, on exercising, or even just a moment of silence in the bathroom, in the pantry. So that balances. So a community that supports the balance of both, because we've seen a lot of communities, all they're offering is upskill, like learn this, and it adds pressure to. We're already stressed with the kids, and we don't have a job and stuff like that, and so it's even harder. So I think first is to really get to know your community. If you have majority of your community members who are out of job, and probably shift the content or the purpose of your community to address to them. If you're a woman or a mom looking for support, find a community that you feel like will serve you. If that community is adding more stress and adding more anxiety to you, leave that group for a while. Find another community that serves you, you know. So I hope we can create more communities who can serve a lot of women. And I think one thing that's helpful is to really know, you know, the data of who are the moms that are being let go, what are the percentage of the women in our community that are out of jobs, so we can address their needs in that way. Because yeah, this is the time when they really need our support, and we just have to make sure, especially as community leaders, we have to make sure that that's the right support we're giving them. Because it's easy to say, do this, do that, you know, but it's hard for them to execute because they have a lot of things on their plate. So yeah, just making sure that we know what they need is very, very important.
Totally agree with all what you said. I want to ask you, what are your hopes to Filipino women and especially to our online workforce, or any advice to them to help them cope up in these challenging times and help them bounce back after this, you know, quarantine and after this pandemic? It might take a time, but at least while they are in the quarantine period, they can already prepare to bounce back while coping up at the same time.
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. During these times, I think it's very important to set a time this week, as the sooner the better. Set a time by yourself and just sit down and say, look, this is this is what's going on. I am accepting my situation. For example, I don't have a job, I don't have a client, or I may lose client. What's my action plan? You have to write this down. You have to plan it. You have to set a time where you say, okay, look, my finances right now, okay, I can live in the next month. I can live for 3 months, or I can leave for 2 weeks, and I'm done. I don't have cash anymore, right? So you have to sit that down and just really plan ahead. So with that planning, again, with that planning, you know, okay, there's a online community about, there's this online event about doing soap making, for example, all these different online activities, right? And you will see in your paper, does these events align to my goals in the next few weeks? If it's not, then they are distractions. They are not opportunities for you. So you have to know which of these opportunities that are useful for you. So once you know, okay, I need to get a job for this. So look for online training and events about online freelancing, about positioning yourself in the digital world, you know. Watch videos and join communities that are aligning to your goals, especially in the next coming weeks. Because any other things are just simply distractions. Second thing here is, once you've planned out everything, you need to also plan out, okay, what are my skill sets right now? You have to list them down. And I've been sharing this tip for a very long time, is that you have to make sure you've listed them all down and you know which ones you can sell immediately. You can start with your friends. Hey, I have more time now. Do you have friends who can do this, who can do this? And believe me, there are people who's going to help. There are people that are going to give you or tag their friends or connect you to the right person. You just need to ask for the help, right? So if you're looking for a job, tell everyone that you're looking for a job, right? We don't know that you're looking for a job because, you know, you didn't tell us. So one thing that's that will be helpful is you have to let people know that, you know, you have time to do this, to do that. You say, like, I am available from 12 midnight to 5 a.m. any work I can do during these times, right? Especially if you're in demand with your writing skills or your image editing skills, digital Facebook ad skills and stuff like that. So also being able to manage your time like that, so you would know, okay, Mondays is learning time for me. I will not apply on Mondays. I will not talk to anyone on Mondays. On Mondays is my learning day. I just have to learn this, learn that, learn that. And then Tuesday, all day, all I need to do is apply for jobs, you know? So time management and calendar blocking, and making sure that the activities that you are doing are in line with the goals, with the objectives that you want to accomplish, especially in the next coming weeks, especially during these times. I think you have to make sure which opportunity is a distraction and which of those are the ones that are fit for you, especially now where we have lots of people showing up with different events and different trainings. So you have to make sure which one will serve you best, especially in the next coming weeks. I mean, it's very true. Kay Murag, it's so hard ba with all of these content available for us now. We feel overwhelmed. Like, saon man ni pagsunod
Right.
tanan sa akong utok, you know, like patay.
True.
Yeah, so but if you know your goal, you know, if you know, okay, in the next month I need to be hireable by Saturday. What do I need to do, or else I'm gonna lose money? I need to start putting money in, you know.
Right. Right. Thank you, Miss Reg. I really love those tips, and I'm gonna start doing some of those that I have been doing. I really like those part that you will allocate one day just to learn, and then of course we really have to tell people if you're looking for a job. No, otherwise we'll just like waiting for nothing. It's good to know what the market needs right now and the demand, and then we can start learning and building that skills. All right. So I really love those, and
Yeah.
I want to ask you, my last question for you is, as one of the empowered women that I know, what are your major, I know you have more life lessons, what are your major 3 life lessons in life that you can share to other women out there, especially to Filipino women?
First things first, this is my very, very favorite one that I always tell people, is that always show up. No matter the mood, no matter you're late, no matter what day it is, always show up to the time you said you're going to show up, right? So I know we've got lots of what's happening and everything, and you know, internet's down and stuff like that. You have to make sure that you show up, whether because more than likely, you know, their time is also important as yours. So make sure whatever it is, it shows when you show up despite extreme circumstances. If you show up, you know, we can see the dedication, the passion you have,
Right.
the respect you have for the other person. So that's a very, very good value to have, and people appreciate that when you do that. So show up, which goes to number 2. My advice is always do difficult conversations. Filipino women or Filipinos in general don't like confrontation. It's something in our culture and our DNA for some reason. Whenever our employers, especially the Western employers who tell something bad or scolds us for doing something wrong, we take it personally and we block them on Facebook and we say bad things about them. We rant about them online, and it's just, you know, for some people, it's just after 5 minutes, it's done. You know, they move on. Let's, you know, it's another day. But for most, especially in our experience, they take it personally the next day, the next week, the next month, you know, and they don't address it because they don't want to have that difficult conversation, you know. So if, for example, if you're your pay, you know, you want to negotiate your salary, most of us don't want to have that conversation because it's a difficult conversation. But then again, it's one of those conversations you need to have if you want to have an increased salary, right? Or else, how can you get an increased salary if you don't want to start that conversation? You may not get the salary that you want, but at least you've initiated the conversation. So that's number two, is the more difficult conversations you have in your life, the easier your life gets. For example, again, a friend hurt you, right? Or offended you. You don't just sulk in there and just think about it for a couple of days. You immediately tell that person that, look, I am offended by what you say. I just want to know that, I want you to know that my feelings were hurt. Can we just get past this? Or, client, I didn't like how you worded your sentence. I feel like that was offensive. Just have that conversation, because again, the other person isn't a mind reader. Unless you tell them how you feel, you tell them what's going on, then they wouldn't know that you're feeling bad, or you're feeling hurt, or even you need help, or you need a job pala. So you have to make sure that you do difficult conversations. And I struggled with difficult conversation as well. I'm an introvert person. I'm the most introverted CEO you can probably meet in your life. So I don't like firing people. I don't like telling people that they don't have a job. But then again, I have to do it. I have to sit down and really train myself how not to get personally offended or personally invested in these difficult situations. And I think the third one I think I can say best is, you are not alone. No matter what it is, you are not alone, right? And to be honest, if it makes you feel better, me or people who are successful, sometimes we don't know what we're doing either. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We're also uncertain. And please find comfort in that, because we're humans also. We have errors. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. And if you just reach out to the community, reach out to the person you look up to, just message them, hey, you know what? I really look forward to your videos, or to what you're saying, and to your advices, and just want you to know that, I really appreciate that, your support and stuff like that. So with reaching out to these people and making sure that you want support, and you want to belong in a community where you're like-minded and you share the same values and you're in the same situation, that would be very, very helpful, to know that you are not alone. Especially, we're lucky in Davao, where people are very community oriented. We want to belong. We want to be friends with everyone. The competition here isn't as crazy as in other places. We like to help our other kababayan here, our other Davaoenyo, and that's why I love living here. I'm from Cebu City, so I love living in Davao. I've never left the city because of that camaraderie that people have here. They're not really in competition mode all the time. They want to help other people, and they're very community based. So you're lucky that you belong in this community, and you should take advantage of that. You should make sure that you belong to a community that serves you, and you are not alone. We're all in this together. I think that's it. That's my 3 life lessons.
Awesome. Those are really great lessons, and I totally agree. For women to show up, show their talent, but at the same time, make sure that when we said something that we will do, we will really do it and show up on time. That's very important, especially if we build our credibility and if we want to, let our employer appreciate us or our client to appreciate us. And the second one, which is do the uncomfortable and difficult conversations. We usually have this difficult or uncomfortable questions that we ask ourselves, because sometimes we don't want to confront ourselves and ask the difficult questions because we have the fear of, that we don't want the answer ourselves. So I think for women, this is very important. And one way to do it, if we are not comfortable, is to do that with our friend. someone that we can trust, or a very close family member, so that as we get used to that, then we become comfortable as we do that with our employer, as we do that with our clients, or even with our coworker. And the third one, you are not alone. Totally agree. And we are very blessed right now that there are a lot of groups that we can attend or we can join and participate into. Even during the time of quarantine, there are virtual communities that we can join and reach out to people, because we are not perfect human being. You know, there are things that we cannot do by our own. And, you know, we just have to tell people that we need something, or tell people that we appreciate them, or let them know that we need something, or let them know that we can do something for them as well. Thank you, Regina. I really had fun, and I had a lot of learnings in our conversation, and this is so informative and inspiring for me. And I hope that other women also learn something from these stories. For sure they have. And do you have any other announcement, or how can they find you? How can they find Mr. Outsource? Or where can they grab your book? Or any announcement for Women Will or with the Dorian Toastmaster Club?
Yeah, just add me on Facebook. Everything is in there. I keep our community updated on Facebook. Just Regina Evangelista on Facebook. You can reach out to me there if you want to inquire about Mr. Outsource and get a job there. Just reach out to me. If you want to learn about public speaking and how to on your feet, so that's something we can help you. So yeah, you can join us. We've transitioned to online meetings as well. We actually have one tomorrow. I'm not sure when is this going to be published, but we do Toastmasters every Thursdays. So yeah, so just add me on Facebook and I can share you some links on how to join. It's really fun. It's a very non-threatening way of learning, especially in public speaking, where most of us are scared to be evaluated and be criticized with how we speak in English and the use of our words and our hands all over the place when we speak. So these people are very non-threatening, and they will tell you that, look, you have to stop doing this in your hands, blah, blah, blah. And it's very inspiring. And I think it's one of those communities, if you're looking for a community that's non-threatening and you want to learn about public speaking, then Toastmasters is definitely one of those communities that you can join. So yeah, if you want to reach out to me, Facebook is the best way. So yeah, just search for my name and I'll definitely add you back.
That's lovely. So once again, thank you so much, Regina, for your time. And everyone, thank you so much for your time, for hanging in there, and continue to keep yourself healthy, fit, and gorgeous. Stay at home and have a great week, everyone. Till our next Women-Powered episodes, don't forget to follow our Facebook page or subscribe on our YouTube channel, Women-Powered Stories. So thank you very much, and God bless you.